India up in here, our lifestyle and wellness coach.
Hi, how's it
There she
going?
is. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Just turning up the volume, making sure everything's good. How's your day going? How's your morning treating you?
It's going pretty well. I did my morning routine that helps me to stay clear throughout the day. And so, yeah, it's been a good day. It's feeling kind of muggy, but it's cold out, a little cold outside today,
Is
but
it?
it's a nice day for a walk.
Nice. Good to know. Well, I am so excited to talk to you, India. I have my notes. I've talked to everyone, like an entrepreneur, a small business in and around Atlanta for the past couple weeks. Everyone from like sushi chefs to hairstylists to skincare specialists, nutritionists. And this whole entire time, I've been telling myself, I've got to get a lifestyle coach. I've got to get someone that knows mental health. I've got to talk to them because that's so important right now. And funny story, India, the way I found you, I was just on my couch watching Netflix, and I literally just went on Instagram and hashtag Atlanta life coach, and your profile popped up. I was like, boom, this is it. This is her. She's active. She's in the moment. She's here. She's recognizing what's going on, and she's in Atlanta. Like, I'm just so excited that I finally got a hold of you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm glad that our paths crossed virtually.
Yes, I know. So let's get into it right now, India. I'm just going to jump right into it. You are a lifestyle and wellness coach. What is that exactly, and how long have you been doing this?
So I pretty much got into this. I went to school for psychology and undergrad and then graduate school for clinical counseling. And I was a mental health counselor for a few years. And I just decided that I wanted to do something that would allow me to incorporate my own structure, as far as like incorporating tools of both the mind, the body, and the spirit. So I really focus on mental health, spiritual health, and wellness. And by doing that, I pretty much just look at my clients and I go through a series of asking them and learning about their background and their belief systems. And by doing that, I'm able to help them develop tools that helps them to change those habits and those belief system patterns that they're wanting to change, and to overcome current obstacles so that they can have better relationships with themselves, have a better relationship with others, and just have an overall better wellness routine.
Wow, you sound, I mean, like, just you explaining that, you sound so centered, like, I'm like, I need to have a conversation with her all the time.
It really takes time. It's not easy. It takes time.
So let's talk about anxiety. It's a real thing. A lot of people are being furloughed. They're losing their jobs. Their title has been terminated completely. How important is mental health and being spiritually connected? How important is that right now?
Mental health is super important, especially now. So I really like to tell people and challenge people to focus on their mental health just as much as they focus on their physical health. Because you can take all the vitamins and you can do all of this routine to keep yourself physically well and, abstain from the coronavirus. But you don't want to go insane by being in your house, being isolated from your family and your friends. So it's really important to stress mental health right now. Especially since a lot of people are missing out on like major milestones, graduations, birthdays, holidays. Mother's Day is coming up, and some people can't be with their moms. I can't be with my mom. So it's really important to keep yourself from feeling crippled down by anxiety and helpless, because there's not much that we can do right now. So I always tell people, don't be afraid to reach out to someone for help, to reach out to your support system, to find a therapist that you can do some therapy online, or a coach that you can find online, just so you can stay grounded and have tools and someone to lean on that during this time.
Yeah, no, very well said. I definitely, as this conversation continues, oh, there's my cat, Domino, sorry.
Oh, hi.
I definitely want to ask you about those mental exercises. My question, and maybe this is just a personal question, but I feel like a lot of millennials, and anyone at any age, is thinking this right now. We find ourselves overthinking and replaying conversations in our head, India, because our routines are different. We're not having that human interaction, that human connection at work, a lot of meetings are virtually through Zoom, a lot of more emails. How should we cope? How do we manage our thoughts? Because we're alone.
They're going to be there regardless. When you turn off that,
what can we do to manage that and to cope with it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Because we're in isolation, we're away from our family and our friends. Some of us live by ourselves. We might have roommates or family, but it's really hard to, or it's a really easy thing to do is to overthink. So I always want to stress that it's okay. Like, don't be hard on yourself when you find yourself being triggered by something or, thinking about the past or just overthinking. Don't be hard on yourself. That's the last thing you want to do. But we also want to focus on this being a chance for us to be in reflection and to utilize it productively. So a big thing that I like to do is journal. I think that that's something that's very helpful when it comes to understanding your thoughts and why you think a certain way. Talking to someone is also helpful, but it's also important to be aware of our triggers. And so I always stress to develop ways and create things that help you to understand your triggers better, and so that you can live more presently. So a good way of doing that is to write out, again, journaling different things that you're triggered by and to come up with a plan of certain tools to use when you do find yourself being triggered. Something that works well for me is mindfulness. For example, doing things more mindfully. Meditation is also helpful. Talking to people is helpful. So yoga, exercise, but doing things that are more productive and not just saying like, oh, I'm overthinking, I'm just going to sit here and get on Netflix, because the thoughts are still going to be there. They're going to be there regardless. When you turn off that Netflix show, you're still going to have these same thoughts. So it's important to tackle them head on so that you can feel more productive and that you can have a clearer mind, if that makes sense.
Very well said. Yes, very well said. I totally forgot about journaling. That's a thing that you can still do that. You can still do that. Even if it's just like a little mantra that you write down. I didn't even think about that. I totally want to start exercising that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really helpful. And just asking yourself why a million times. Like, it sounds kind of counterproductive, but when you say like, why am I thinking this way? Okay, but why is that? And you just get to the whys and the whys and the whys. It can help you get to the root of the issue. So yeah, that's hope for me when I journal. And it's like you end up writing like, and then you can look back on it like over time and just see like how you were thinking before and how it's changed. It's really helpful.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so for the people who still have their jobs, they might feel overwhelmed because maybe some of their employers have been furloughed. So added responsibility has been added to their daily task and they find themselves overworked and overwhelmed. Did I ask this question already? I didn't ask this question.
No, not at
all. How do we manage our time from not being overwhelmed? Some people, might have find themselves working longer hours now because, there's a shorter staff. So how can we manage our time, if that makes sense?
Right. So first, I would stress reminding yourself that you're only one person. You're not a superhero. You can only accomplish so much in a day. So it's really important to have that in your mind to know that like, okay, I am one person. I'm doing the best I can. Always remind yourself that you're doing the best that you can. And also what can be helpful is to develop a tool, which I use is 3 tasks. So I always like outline what are the 3 most important things that I need to get done for work today. And then I reward myself when I get those things done. Provide yourself with rewards because that teaches you like, okay, like when I get these things done, like it teaches your mind that it's rewarding and that like you can accomplish and that you're fine. And, it's also important to talk with people about it. So talk with your boss about how you're feeling. If you feel overwhelmed or you feel overworked, ask them for suggestions or ways that they can help you, or ask your colleagues or your coworkers for help as well, because everyone, to mitigate responsibilities, because everyone is probably feeling the same way that you do. And maybe by talking about it with others, it can help you to be more clear and just to understand I'm not alone in how I feel. And also if you have a partner and you have kids, because I know sometimes that can be even harder and more challenging, sit with them to create a schedule so that you guys are on the same page as far as like working with your kids and making sure that their needs are being met and your needs are being met as well. Whether that's, okay, at this time I'm going to work and I'm going to be on the Zoom meeting. Would you be able to watch over the kids? Or, and different things like that, just so that you're sharing, sharing the workload. and also developing positive affirmations for yourself. So I personally use Post-its, and I keep them around my house and places where I know that I'm gonna, see them, like on the fridge, on my bathroom mirrors, on the side of my dresser, wherever I know that I'm gonna look. And so it's a constant reminder. So I would suggest writing 3 positive affirmations on note cards so that you can have them nearby. So when you start to feel overwhelmed, just remind yourself of them. A good one that I love is by Brene Brown. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's amazing. She talks about vulnerability all of the time. And she has this one quote that says, no matter what gets done or how much is left undone, I'm enough. So it always reminds you that I'm always enough no matter what's going on. Even if I don't get this done today, I'm fine. Like, I'm not a superhero. I'm a human being. I'm one person that's just doing the best that I can.
I love that. Very well said. And definitely keeping, like you said earlier in your answer, keeping like a list of what is the most important thing to be done today, and then keep a mental note to reward yourself, whether it's you going outside to check the mail and going for a walk or whatever that small reward is. I love that. Thank you. Yes, I love that. Okay, so let's move on to, some people might feel guilty because they're still staying afloat. They still have their job. And they feel bad communicating with their close ones or their colleagues. If I'm being transparent, that's something I'm struggling with right now. I'm fortunate enough to still have my job, but I have a lot of friends that are also in the work field that I do. And I find it hard to communicate with them and to be transparent, because when they ask me, how was your day going? What are you up to today? How are you feeling? I feel like I'm not being honest with them completely, because there are moments I'm a little frustrated.
Right.
There are moments that I want to talk to them about it because they are my friend. How can we communicate with people that we think that might be struggling more than us in an appropriate manner? Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And honestly, Rachel, you're not the only one that feels that way. It's really normal, a normal feeling to feel guilty about something when something good happens to you. And like, even in normal situations, like if something is good happening to you and your friend just went through something really hard or is going through something hard, it can be hard to be happy for yourself when the people around you are struggling. So it's important to remind yourself that I'm worthy of this. Not saying that your friends aren't, because they are too, but like I'm worthy of still having this job, and just to practice gratitude. Like, I'm grateful for this job. I'm grateful for it, for what it provides me. And you know what I mean? Like, I just
practice gratitude to
right, practice that gratitude, and just know that guilt is a normal feeling, but it can be counterproductive because it can make us feel more sympathy for people instead of the more productive feeling, which is empathy, because empathy allows us to be of more support than to feel sympathy for people, if that makes sense.
Yes. So
I highly suggest, there are different ways you can offer your family and your friends support at this time. If people can offer financial help, then that's, of course, what people would like ultimately. But even if you can't, there are other ways that you can be there. You can be a virtual shoulder to cry on. You can help them develop new skills, like teach them, show them different tools online. Like, hey, I found this. Or you can, if they're in the same community, like job search for them, help them job search, help them improve their applications or their resume. So there are different ways that you can be there for them, and to not feel so like guilty about having a job. Yeah, because it's like a give and receive. Like, I am being given. I'm grateful that I still have a job, so I want to be able to give and help you by offering you some type of support at this time in whatever way is possible for me.
Very well said. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have a few more questions, if that's okay.
Yeah. We can talk all day.
So if you're just now joining us, we have India Simonne. She's a lifestyle and wellness coach, and you're in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
Okay, so let's talk about rest. How much is too much rest? Is it possible to have too much rest? How much do you recommend?
Oh, it's definitely possible to have too much rest. And studies show that having too much rest can be just as detrimental as too little rest. Because when you have too much rest, you can have cognitive impairments, like you can have memory loss or just feel foggy all day. It can cause depression. And it's also bad for your physical health because you're at higher risk for obesity, heart disease, and even more high risk for like depression and anxiety. So it's really important that we're getting the right amount of rest. And that all depends on the person. I always suggest 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. There's this really good app that I use. It's called Sleep Cycle.
Okay.
When I say it's amazing, I've been using it for years. Basically what it does is because I'm a nerd, but it tracks like your sleep per day. So it teaches you like different tools that you can use to like better your sleep. It tracks like your snoring. It tracks how many times you toss and turn. So like the delta waves and the REM sleep.
No way.
It's amazing. And it asks you, did you feel like you got a good night of sleep? So you can say yes or no. It asks you like different questions like, did you drink caffeine at night? Did you have a hard day? Do you feel stressed? Like, so it pretty much like compares like how you felt to like how good of sleep you got. It's amazing. It's
That's
like
so cool.
$1 or $2 on I know on like the Apple
Yes.
app. So I think it's available for other Sleep Cycle.
Sleep Cycle. Oh, I'm definitely gonna look into that.
I highly suggest it. I use it, and it even like provides different sounds, so you can listen to like ocean waves or like peaceful music
yes.
or rain. It's amazing.
Yes, yes. Okay, so let's talk about meditation, India. What is meditation? How do you define it? And how would you suggest someone to meditate?
Sure. So meditation is basically a mindful activity that helps you to live more in the present. So it trains your brain to be more present. So if you're just starting out, I highly suggest these two apps. There's one called Calm, and then there's one called Headspace, which help you to relax, to focus. It helps you to deepen your breaths, because that's important during meditation. And it teaches you how to like train your brain to live more in the present. It like has you like do things like listen to the sounds around you, like focus on like your body and like the sensations that you're feeling in your body, because meditation is it's very beneficial for reducing stress and anxiety. It can help us to change our perspective and to gain a more positive outlook. It helps becoming more clear and focused, so it can really help like with your mental and be more focused throughout the day. And it also helps you to be more self-aware of when you're triggered by certain things, and like when thoughts come up, like if you're meditating and you have a thought of something and it's triggering your heart rate to beat fast, and you know like, oh, this is a trigger for me, so this is something that I need to work through. So it can really be helpful in that way, and it takes time.
It's crazy, India, because I find myself, since we're all isolated, we're self-quarantined, you know, it's just me and my boyfriend, we live together, and I find myself like, I know when I haven't meditated or I haven't done it in a while, because things will trigger and things will get irritating or annoying for me. And like, I feel, I listen to my body, and like the heart rate will go up. I'll get angry. I'll get heated. And I'm like, okay, I need to step back. I need to be centered and really meditate, so I'm not reacting unnecessary. That's not how I want to live my life. I want to be present, like you said. So yes, I would definitely recommend meditation.
Yeah,
very well
definitely.
said.
And it's not the same for everyone, because I know some people are like, I can't meditate, like it's super hard. And it's like, it doesn't look the same for everyone. Everyone thinks that you have to be in this Indian style, like, and just be this like Buddha looking person. And it's not like that at all. Like sometimes I meditate lying down. You know, that might not be helpful for some people because it might trigger sleeping, but for me it's helpful to be lying down, to deepen my breaths. You can do it standing up, you can do it sitting down. And if you don't have time to meditate, which I suggest daily, I try to meditate at least 5 to 10 minutes a day.
Okay.
Most I'm able to meditate is 20 minutes, which like took a lot of practice. It took a lot of practice to learn to meditate for 20 minutes. But if you're not able to meditate during the day, if you don't feel like you have that time, then do something more mindful. You can do that while you're showering and like cleaning and washing off your body. Just paying more attention to how you clean your body while you're brushing your teeth, while you're drinking coffee. Like, what does the coffee taste like? You know, like just smelling the coffee, just living more presently is the key. And for more information, you can find it on my blog. I have a whole post about mindfulness.
Oh, perfect. Well, go ahead and plug that real quick. We're going to plug that at the end for sure. But where's your blog? Where can we find that?
You can find that at SimoonWellness.com. So that's SIMOON Wellness.com. And it just says blog at the top. And I just have posts that I share in regards to your mental health, wellness, and different tools and tricks that you can do to improve that.
Perfect. Okay, so I was on your Instagram. a couple of days ago, and you were talking about indoor plants.
Yes.
How can they benefit us, especially right now with quarantine life?
Oh, for sure. So indoor plants, they're really good to have in your home regardless of this quarantine because they help remove toxins from the air. I don't know if people are familiar, but our wall paint, unless it's non-toxic wall paint, is filled with toxins that are released like formaldehyde. So plants help to produce oxygen in the air and clear the air and clear those toxins because you don't want to breathe that in. It can be really bad for your mental health and your physical health to breathe that in. Yeah. And they're just really, I just like to feel like I'm in nature. They like create this like nature scenery, but also they're good for your mental health. I know for me, when I went through something really challenging, creating a garden and like planting plants and just taking the time to do this mindful activity really helped me to change my perspective because I feel like when you nurture something, that takes time. You learn that it just teaches you about patience and to be patient with yourself and to trust the process. So I really suggest getting some indoor plants and, taking the time to nurture them and just watch them grow. Cause it's just like, you feel so proud of yourself. Like, look at this plant growing. Yeah. Like, I'm doing something right. This plant can't talk. It can't tell me what it wants, but it's growing.
I love it. I love it. India, is there any books that you recommend right now, especially with quarantine life? Is there anything that you highly suggest us to try to dive into?
Yes. Okay. So I meant to plug this earlier, but there's this book called The Little Book of Mindfulness. I don't know if you can see it. Yes. It's by Dr. Pedriza Collard, and it's basically 10 minutes a day for less stress and more peace. So it teaches you different mindfulness activities like mindful walking. It teaches about like understanding your body and like the triggers, like that body sensations. It's really good. I also suggest Doing Greatly by Brene Brown. I love Brene Brown. She has a Netflix special out too about courage, which I highly suggest. I've watched it way too many times. What else? Everything's Figure Outable. That book is really, really good. And that's by Marie, I think Marie, I can't remember, but it's called Everything is Figure Outable. Really good book. Okay. What else? 7 Spiritual Laws of Success is really good. That's by Deepak Chopra. All of his books are great though. I love a self-help book. So
perfect. So India Simonne, thank you so much for joining us. I want to make sure we push everyone to your Instagram page and your blog. How can people find you, India?
So you can find me at India Simonne on Instagram. That's INDIASIMONNE. Yes, 2 N's. I also have a page where you can learn more about coaching and what it is that I do, and that's SimoonWellness.com. SIMOON wellness.com. And on there, I also have my blog, so you can check that out as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, India. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this to make sure everyone understands? Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, but thank you. I would like to say thank you for this opportunity to chat with you guys. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me in my DMs. I'll be more than willing to share some information for you. And yeah, yes. Thank you, Rachel, so much for this opportunity. Yes, and for all that you're doing.
Let's definitely regroup in a couple weeks, and maybe we could do a Q&A with more questions from listeners. And let's regroup. Let's have this conversation again in the near future.
Okay? Sounds great. I love talking to you.
Thank you so much, India.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.